Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2021. The album, Dad AF. Stop. What the hell are you talking about? Get my pretty name out of your mouth. I have been listening to that Billie Eilish song on repeat for the last 24 hours. I feel like it's very apropos for the beginning of, yes, the beginning of Dramageddon 4. But before we get into that, I have to say a very, very special thank you to AdamandEve.com for sponsoring yet another video on my channel. I think it's very apropos in talking about Trisha Paytas that I am sponsored by AdamandEve.com over here today. Thank you, AdamandEve.com. You can go over there, listen, okay? They have toys, okay? They have all kinds of oils and lubricants. You can get your naughties, you can get your nice, you can get your movies. They've got all kinds of movies over there. They've got books, okay? How to Tickle His Pickle. They've got all kinds of things. And with my code Peter, like I always say, thank God my name is not Richard, because then my code would be Code Dick, but it's not. My code is Code Peter, which is bad enough anyway. But with my code Peter, you get 50% off your first item plus free shipping and handling in the United States and Canada. Adam and Eve has 24-hour customer service, so you can call them 24 hours a day. If you're just lonely and you want to chat, just call them up over at AdamandEve.com. They have 90-day hassle-free return policy, so if you get something in the mail and you don't like it, if it's too small or too big, and you want to send it back, then you just send it back, hassle-free, no questions asked whatsoever, I hope. And it comes all anonymous. I actually ordered a bunch of stuff for my husband for Christmas. He was very happy, and it comes like all anonymous, so nobody knows what it is and all that kind of stuff. So if you're worried about that, I won't know what you order if you order with my code, but if you want to let me know, that would be really, really nice. A lot of people have been direct messaging me and saying, I used your code, thank you for your code, and all that kind of stuff, so thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. And 20% of all their proceeds go to the prevention of HIV and AIDS around the world, which I think is fantastic. So thank you again, AdamandEve.com, for yet sponsoring another video on my channel. All right, let's get into the drama. Woo! Y'all, I cannot keep up. Where's my lip gloss? I had no clue that I would be in today's video. I had no idea that I was going to be a guest star in my own video. But somehow I have been drawn into Dramageddon 4. So we're going to talk about that today in not one, not two, but 3 drama videos, okay? Listen, I have been busting my ASS. I did an hour and, I don't know, 15-minute, 13-minute vlog last night. I got up today. I did a review of the Wonder Woman Frappuccino at Starbucks. I'm getting ready to film my 3 videos. I'm getting ready to do a bunch of cameos. I've got a video I'm doing over on my Peter Does Stuff channel where you can go over there and you can see me making a bed or showing the artwork at our house or just looking to see what's underneath my sink. That's what the kind of videos you find over there. And I want to thank everybody who has been supporting me on my new channel, Peter Does Stuff, because I'm really, really having a blast over there. If you didn't know, I have 6 channels. I'm literally an empire at this point. I have this channel. I have my vlog channel where I vlog every day for like an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. I did do a 3-hour vlog this summer. I have a booktube channel, which is where I started because I love books. Read 100 books last year. I have 2 book clubs now, one is a true crime book club listed below that you can join. The other one is over on my Instagram. I have my Peterisms channel, which Raw Beauty Christie was nice enough to shout out, which is where I read daily meditations. And what else do I have? Let's see. I don't even know. I have a review channel where I review food and other things. Food and movies and things like that. And then on a daily basis. And then I have my Peter Does Stuff channel, which I just started recently. And it's just where I do stuff. It's kind of like OG YouTube. So anyway, and I have a blast on YouTube. I just love everything about this. The fact that I am 48 years old and I get to get up every single day and do something that I am so passionate about and talk about things that I'm interested in and that people really want to listen, because nobody in my personal life cares about any of this kind of stuff except for my good Judy Tanya now. So it just means the world to me, and I just want to say thank you to all of you out there that watch my videos on a regular basis. You literally make my dreams come true, and I just want to say thank you. I try to say that often, and it's you guys that allow me to be able to have the life that I have and get to do what I want to do. So thank you so much to all of you out there. All right, let's get into the drama. Now, in drama video for Peter number 1 today, we are going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, and you guys are going to comment in the comment section below, because unlike Ryland Adams, I leave my comment section open. Just saying, okay? I rarely delete comments over there. Every once in a while, people will be like, oh, you delete comments. No, I don't. Not on this channel at all. Maybe sometimes on my vlog channel every once in a while, but rarely ever. And even over here, I never delete a video or delete a comment over here. Now, it may go to like spam or hidden for review or something like that, and I never check those comments. So if it's over there, it's lost for eternity. Okay, and I think YouTube just came out and said that they're only going to hold them for 90 days now, and then whatever is held for review for 90 days, they're just going to get rid of, which is okay because I don't ever look over there anyway. So anyway, what was I going to say? Okay, we're going to talk, like I said, I'm going to talk today about Trisha Paytas' video yesterday and what she came out and she said on Twitter. That's going to be video number 1. Video number 2 is a more personal video of where I'm going to tell some things that I'm aware of, okay, in relation to Shane Dawson, Gabby Hanna, and Jeffree Star. And then the third video is going to be that a lot of people have a lot to say about this. And I would try to include this in one video, but you guys know I am long-winded as it is. It's going to be really hard for me not to make each video 30 minutes. So how I'm going to get that done and still make it on time to my godson and nephew's birthday party today, I do not know. Well, it's really just close family blowing out the candles. So, or him blowing out the candles and us just standing there. It's like going to be 5 of us, I think. So anyway, but I am going to get it done because this is what I love to do. So let's talk about what happened. Okay. Last night I started getting tagged like crazy in this. Trisha Paytas put up this tweet. And I don't know if I'll show it up here or not, but here it is. And she said, a big F you to Shane Dawson. I've been hearing this SHI tip for years and refuse to believe it. Trying to set me up. Your loser ASS fiance that no one cares about lied his ASS off today. You guys are both scum. I can't believe you say SHI tip behind my back all these years. I never. And then she linked a video clip of mine, which people are trying to find out which video that is. I have no clue. I don't know. She said it was from September. I don't know. But what's really interesting about this is the clip that she showed is that in the video I'm referencing Shane Dawson telling me when I met with him in Las Vegas. I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he told me, like we were talking, and I'm going to talk about this in my next video, we were talking about Trisha Paytas, and he referred to her as a pathological liar. And Andrew was there, Garrett was there, Ryland was there, my husband was there. It wasn't like he just whispered it. I mean, it was said, and they laughed about it. And we're going to talk about that in the next, I want to talk about that in the next video. And kind of what I thought about that at the time and all this kind of stuff. And then I'm also going to talk about some things that Gabby Hanna told me, and I'm also going to, things that maybe people don't already know. And also I want to talk a little bit about some things to do with Jeffree Star that I was told in the past. So anyway, that will be in the next video, but I do want to go through all of this. The funny thing about this clip is that, people are like, oh, Trisha does watch your videos. I don't know how much she watches my videos or not, but I literally have talked about this in so many videos that it's like, she wouldn't have had to go to a Reddit thread and go way back to September. I think I just said it like 2 days ago in a video. So just to show that, yeah, I have continued to say that. Because I thought it was really sad at the time. And honestly, people ask me a lot. They're like, you know, what was your, like, where did you start falling out of favor for Shane Dawson? And this was really like the first thing. When I sat there and I thought, because when I met him, and we'll talk about this, I'll talk about this in my next video, but when I met him, I was so excited, I was a super fan, and I was like, oh my God, you know, whatever. And then I'm sitting here hearing him talk about all these people, because it wasn't just Trisha that he talked about. I was like, is this really what YouTube is like? Is this what Hollywood's like? Because if it is, I want no part of it. And I have found that that's not necessarily true of what YouTube is like or Hollywood, but I do feel like that's a certain part of it, and I do feel like Shane Dawson is a part of that. So anyway, she put that up. I started getting tagged a ton in it. Then Trisha put up a video on her vlog channel, and let me get to this. The video is called, hold on a second. Literally, so many receipts in here. Okay. The receipts, Whitney. She put up a video on her vlog channel, and it is called Shane and Ryland Are Literal Scum of the Earth. At the time, I watched it when it had 13 minutes, was up for 13 minutes. So I went in and I took a bunch of notes, and I want to talk about this. First of all, this whole video at the beginning and at the end, and honestly, I mean, like, I get where she's coming from, but it kind of cracked me up a little bit. She said that there was some evil, dark SHI toot happening here and that she rebuked it. And of course, when I saw that part, I was like, gargoyles, Ouija boards, she's not a Christian. So anyway, I was like, okay, this is where Trisha goes with this. But it is interesting, isn't it? It's like, this this threesome of Jeffree Star, Ryland, and Shane that's like unbreakable at this point. And I think it's going to be interesting to see who steps back from that first. I do want to say I got a very, very interesting comment, though, in my video last night that somebody's speculating. Where was it? Hold on a second. Someone said, I should give credit where credit's due. This is Megan. Megan said, what if Shane and Jeffree are together and Shane's man don't know it? Then is that what is going on? I don't know. Is it? Is that where you guys think that this is what's going on? I don't think that's really what's happening. But anyway, the mind reels. So let's get back to my notes. So the first thing was that Trisha addresses the podcast. She goes in and talks about this podcast of Ryland's. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about at this point, Ryland came out yesterday and he did a video called, I think, Dealing with Addiction, a podcast with his friend Lizzie Gordon. She talks about her addiction at the end of that. I addressed that in my video yesterday, my thoughts just about her specific part and what I thought about that. But the first, like, I guess it was 6 minutes, because she was counting, because Trisha says 6 minutes, is where Ryland comes on there and he talks about what happened with Trisha. And he's like, I feel like because we talk about hot topics and I'm a hot topic, which I kind of thought was arrogant when he said that. You're not really that hot of a topic. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying, Ryland. So anyway, let's pull in the reins a little bit, okay? Like, maybe like you're a hot topic by association. You know what I mean? So anyway, so he says this whole thing in there where he feels really bad, but like, you know, like he's very confused about the whole thing, and that all Trisha had to do was just like reach out to them, and that he's like, he basically like, I said this yesterday in my video, that both he and Lizzie kind of, I felt like were patronizing and condescending to Trisha. Like Lizzie, they were very nice, but like literally Trisha says in the video, she said, referred to him as having dead eyes. There was no emotion there whatsoever, right? Which is always interesting to me when Shane Dawson refers to himself as an empath and all this kind of stuff. Like, I really very rarely have ever seen a true emotion come from Shane Dawson or from Ryland Adams. Like, they're rather, like, she's correct when she says that, you know? But anyway, Lizzie turns to the camera at the end of this little segment part, and she says, Trisha, we love you, like, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, it just was almost kind of like, it felt like somebody talking to a child, and I really do feel like that's how they kind of, like, view Trisha, like, oh, we gotta treat her with kid gloves, blah, 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 whatever. And then Ryland's kind of like, yeah, we love her, and then let's move on. How do we move on from this segment? And it's just kind of like, it just was so uncomfortable to watch. I understand why Trisha's upset about it. Hold on, I need my reading glasses. So then it goes on, and she says that they knew about it, that her sister was there, and it was bullying, and that Ryland lied about the whole thing, because Ryland is saying that he didn't know about any of this really going on, and blah, 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 whatever. Now, Trisha's sister has come out, and this, I have not watched this whole video clip yet, but it's on YouTube, and she has come out, and I think she came out in a TikTok story the other day, and she said she knew all this kind of stuff, blah, 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 whatever. Now, I'm going to tell you some interesting things that Trisha brought up that I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting from what Shane Dawson told me. So anyway, so apparently they knew. Trisha says she's got text messages that show that they knew, and they're just trying to act like now that they don't know anything about it, right? So then she goes on and she said that they communicate all through voice messages, and so a lot of this she doesn't have. This is really interesting because I have to tell you, the majority of my conversations with Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson have always been through voice messages. In fact, I went in to look to see if I have, like, my old text messages with Jeffree Star, and I'm going to talk about this in my next video, some things that he told me. I'm not going to go in and read all the text messages, but there's some points that I can kind of, like, reference. But what was interesting, I may save that for another day. You know what I mean? Like, let's just always keep that in my back pocket. But what was interesting was that he, in there, I noticed that there were a lot of voice notes. Shane did that as well. Actually, that's kind of a YouTube thing. Which I remember when, like, I started, like, and Trisha's done it a couple times to me, too, but it was usually back in the day when she was driving, and she would do, like, a voice note. So, you know, like, but with Shane and Jeffree, it would always be about things that they didn't want repeated. And I don't know if you guys know how voice notes work, but you have to put, like, well, I guess I could look it up right now if I wanted to. Hold on a second. My husband just texted me. Let me pull up Jeffree's because it's right here. It says ready to listen. I mean, I have one on here that is 1 minute and 10 seconds from 2018. And then if you listen to it, you have to hold. I think I kept that one. I don't know what it says. I don't want to play it. You know what I mean? Because anyway. So she's right. They do. And I'm not like going to hold it up or anything, but it's right there. Yeah, it's from September of 2018. So anyway, she's absolutely right. And I thought that was really interesting. And she said, no, they don't ever want anybody to catch them saying certain things, which I think plays into this whole Gabby Hanna thing. And I want to talk about that in my next video as well. So then Trisha goes on, and she said that he never supports her music. He never came to her tours. She said that Gigi Gorgeous came to her tours. Other people came to her tours. And she said that nobody ever came to her tours. Blah, 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 whatever. Okay, but, you know, he always says he doesn't like to leave his house. He has social anxiety. Sometimes you just suit up and show up for your friend, Shane. Sorry, okay? You just do, right? So he didn't have any problem getting in that car and going over to Jeffree Star's house when it was, or his office, or, you know, flying to a mall, or he didn't have a problem doing any of that, but he couldn't step out for his friend's tour, you know? But only when it would make Shane money or put Shane in the spotlight. This whole thing about, like, she says in here later that Shane said the internet stresses him out and gives him anxiety, and she's like, that's BS. This whole kind of playing into all of that, where it's like, I can't handle anything because it gives me stress. But then if you really, really watch him closely, and it's like, okay, he doesn't like to leave his house because that causes him stress, but he has no problem going and opening the Morphe store with Jeffree Star. This kind of stuff causes him stress, but he goes and does all these business meetings and whatever. When it benefits Shane Dawson, he has no problem going out and doing all this kind of stuff, right? And, you know, there's just, the thing that's interesting to me about this is that when you go back and you watch, I never understood why in the Jeffree Star series, they came out and talked about Morgan Adams on this brand trip, right? And this was like such a big deal that Morgan Adams was on this brand trip and everybody bullied her on this trip, okay? And I never really understood it, but like I was like, oh, okay, that's sad or whatever, I guess, you know? But like it didn't fit into the whole thing. And it's like you could come out and say that about Morgan Adams being bullied on a brand trip, but you couldn't even come out about to your good friend privately and support her. Oh, but he said he always has supported her privately because the public stresses him out. So anyway, she goes on and then she says that he would always feed her stuff, references about like David being a sociopath and blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, this is where I need to talk in my next video about some things that Shane told me that I don't think I've ever said on video. I don't know. But he used the word sociopath so much to me in reference to other people that my husband even said to me when we walked away. He goes, why? Because my husband had no clue who these people were. My husband looked at Shane Dawson and he goes, now what do you do? He like has no clue. My husband doesn't care. These people aren't on his radar. He has no interest whatsoever. And so when we were walking away, because there was like a nice moment when we walked away, like this kid came up with his dad and asked Shane to take a picture, and Shane was like, yeah, sure, or whatever, and all this kind of stuff. And so we were kind of like walking away after that, and my husband looked at me and he goes, why does that dude think that everybody's a sociopath? I'm just saying, I don't know, but we're going to talk about that in the next video. So then it goes on, and she said that Ryland took 6 minutes in the podcast and was like, I'm moving on from talking about her part. He put the blame on her by saying she couldn't express herself, which apparently she has expressed herself time and time again. You haven't listened, Ryland, is the problem, okay? She later does address, too, that she feels like She's always done Shane's dirty work because Shane never wants to get his hands dirty, which is so obvious if you're a drama channel. I mean, we've watched this go down for years with Shane Dawson. He never wants to get his hands dirty about anything, right? And his go-tos are always, it causes me stress, or I don't like drama. And when you watch this now and you think about how many times Shane Dawson has been implicated in drama, but he doesn't like drama. I actually did a video probably like 2 weeks ago because there was this Reddit thread on the Shane Dawson thing, and it went through and it read all of the drama things. Shane Dawson has literally, I mean, James Charles gets a bad rap for being in a lot of drama, but like Shane Dawson has been in like multiple times more drama than James Charles would ever want to be, right? And it's like, I think because of this golden boy attitude that he was given a couple years ago, people don't really see that with him. But he's really in a lot of drama for saying that he doesn't like to be in a lot of drama, you know? So then she goes on, that's when she says that he has dead eyes, no emotion whatsoever, which is, you know, that's where I said this in my video yesterday. I was like, if my husband, okay, if his, like, was having a fight with one of his best friends, like, this long, you know, I would be like, really upset, especially if I was part of that, you know, I would be doing anything possible to try to fix that situation or make it right, other than just getting in a video and being like, okay, we need to move on, we addressed it now. No, what you did was you covered your ass, is what you did, okay? You got in a podcast, which failed miserably, your attempt, okay? You stopped the dislike to likes, so we can't see those. You disabled the comments, so what you wanted to do was, and this is very, very important, okay, because this disabling comments thing, unless it's something serious, okay? Like somebody's passed away or something like that. Like, in that situation, I totally understand that. But like, on a video like this, what you're saying basically is, no, I'm going to get the final last word and nobody else is going to say anything about this because I'm arrogant to know, and I'm arrogant enough to know that what I think is true is the truth, okay? Which means you're unteachable, okay? You're not willing to be open to any kind of change whatsoever. So when people want to sit there and say, oh, Shane's changed, when people come out and say this, this is a prime example of how they have not changed whatsoever, okay? This doesn't show any kind of change or growth. Change or growth would have been to get in the video, the podcast, really shown some empathy towards somebody that you considered a friend, if you really do care about her the way that you said you did, and then leave the comments open for anybody to have their say if they wanted to say something about it. But you couldn't do that, okay? You couldn't do that because you were too afraid. Then she goes in and she says that Shane didn't call her after the Jay video. He only called her after she made the TikTok, which I think is important because only when it affected Shane Dawson did he call her, okay? Which I think is really, really telling, that he only really cares about Trisha when it affects him directly, which I think is, if she were to go back, and she's starting to, I think her wheels are starting to turn. If she were to go back and look, you know, at all the things that have happened through the years, I think she would realize, yeah, Shane never really has had any my back unless it affects him directly, you know? She goes in there and she talks about, and I'm not going to get a lot into this because I don't really understand it and I never saw the video to begin with, but she goes in there and talks about how Shane asked her recently to take down a video with Trevi Moran, and that she went back and she watched the video and all this kind of stuff, and she didn't understand at the time, and she just always took down videos, and he would ask her to, but he never would take any videos down. And also, Ryland apparently took down his first podcast because Lizzie, something about the guy that she was talking about betrayed Ryland or something, so he took that one down, but he won't take the podcast where he's like talking to Trisha. The whole thing is so messy, right? But Trisha's like, I've always taken these videos down, but when I went back and I looked at them, she's like, you know, it is cringy. So anyway, she said that in there. And then she goes in and she talks about, oh, that was actually my next point. She said that she talks about Tab, David, and Oscar Wilde, and that, you know, they both said that Jeffrey was talking stuff about Shane Dawson too. She said that when she really didn't like Jeffree Star because of the Kat Von D stuff, which is so funny because that's where I started on the drama. That was literally like my very first video was Jeffree Star and Kat Von D, which now she lives in Indiana. Welcome to Indiana, Kat. But anyway, and she said she didn't really like him because of how he treated her through that whole thing, but Shane vouched for him, so then she started to like him. She didn't play it down. She's like, I always wanted to be Jeffree Star. Like, I thought he was cool. He could afford, which it kind of makes me sad. There's all this discussion just about money, right? Oh, he could afford a $200,000 Rolex. Who cares? That doesn't mean that anybody's worth is anything. But I understand what she's saying, right? So she said that she wanted to be him, and then she references the Ryland thing again. She said, because he said it was a tiff between two friends. She goes, it wasn't a tiff between two friends. She goes, that was not it at all. Yep, you guessed it. My camera died. I thought I could make it to the very end. It was flashing at me, but I couldn't. So anyway, but I'm back. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was that she referenced and brought up Dustin Dailey talking to Gabby Hanna and myself talking to Shane in Las Vegas when he referenced her being a pathological liar. I'll talk about that in my next video. But this was an important point, I think, because this was where she said that, if I understand correctly, that Dustin Dailey had told her that something to the effect of that Gabby Hanna had told him something to do with somebody saying that Trisha had herpes, okay? Which Trisha says she does not have herpes. She said she will prove it with the paperwork if she has to. And can we just talk about this for a second? So anyway, so she's assuming that that person is Shane Dawson, okay? Can we just talk about this for a second? Like, first of all, who tells somebody else that, right? Like, who makes up a story about that? Who weaponizes STDs against somebody? And I just have to tell you, okay, the person that would do that, and I was talking to somebody on the phone last night, and, you know, so I'll say it here too. Like, I know people in my life that have herpes, okay? People that are married and have kids and are living successful lives. It's not like something that you degrade somebody for, okay? The same people that will degrade somebody for having herpes, which Trisha says she doesn't, okay? But the same people that would do that or make up stories are like literally the same people that would do that with like HIV and AIDS. Like, how sick are you to do that? Okay, I don't joke. That's not funny to me. Like, that is not funny to me at all. Like, I can't even fathom that whatsoever. And out of everything that has gone on, in all honesty, okay, if I was Trisha Paytas and I found out that that was absolutely 100% true, this is where I feel like Gabby Hanna needs to come out and say something. I feel like if I found out 100% fact that Shane Dawson had told Gabby Hanna that, and then that's where that came from, okay? If I was Trisha and I found that out, that would literally be the nail in the coffin for me. I mean, I would be so done at that point. I'd be like, that is how you speak about me? Like, okay, the lying thing, horrible. Calling me a troll, horrible. Calling me this, calling me that, horrible, right? But you're literally gonna make up lies and weaponize an STD against me, and I'm your friend? Like, that is so, I can't even wrap my head around that. Like, I don't even understand that, okay? That is literally past cruel. You know, it's bizarre to me. Like, that is bizarre why you would do that. So anyway, on to the next thing. She then says that Ryland is his puppet, Shane's puppet, and that Shane edits all the podcasts. Okay, she comes out and she says that. And she says that he's always in the background of everything that's going on. So, obviously, he's a big part of that. And then she goes on to say that she never really cared about Ryland and always thought that he was leeching off of her. This is actually kind of like an interesting kind of like funny part of the video, because she's like, what does she say? She's like, and if I'm being honest, I never really did like you. Which, can we just talk about this for a second? You know, it's like when Ryland came into the picture, Shane made a big deal out of like, I'm not going to do like a boyfriend videos, and he's not going to be on my channel. And then he pushed his channel, he pushed his channel, he pushed his channel. I don't think that he's funny, okay? I just don't. I don't enjoy Ryland's content at all. I honestly, like, having met him, like, if he were able to sit down and do like more serious, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it's all an act after having met him, in all honesty. And I don't think he's humorous. He's not a comedian to me. I don't think he's naturally funny. And that's just my thing, okay? And listen, it's not new. You can go back and watch my videos from a year ago. I said the same thing. But anyway, but then, you know, Shane pushes him so hard that then he passes 1 million subscribers, and that he, you know, gets a vlogger of the year. And Trisha said in this, nobody would watch you if it wasn't for Shane. Thank you for saying what I have been saying forever, okay? Like, I have been sitting here watching this guy thinking to myself, how has this person gotten to where he's gotten, okay? Like, he would never have had 1 million subscribers if it was not for dating Shane Dawson. Period. End of story. Okay? He wasn't getting them before, you know? So anyway, so Trisha goes in this whole thing. Now, I have to tell you, okay? Now, I'm a human being. I have a right to change my opinion whenever I want. I have been watching quite a few of these frenemies podcasts, okay? And I'm not just saying this because they just showed a clip of my video on their, I didn't see it, on their podcast, which was very nice. Thank you, Ethan. But I have to tell you that I am really kind of enjoying the Frenemies podcast. Well, the ones where they don't fight a lot. I don't like the fighting. The fighting to me is uncomfortable to watch. I don't like to watch any videos where people are fighting like that. So when they kind of like get along, I like that one. So the most recent one that I watched where they did the trivia at the end of it, that was like really cute and kind of funny and all this kind of stuff. And, but I have to tell you, like, I am kind of finding Ethan Klein rather humorous at this point. So I don't know, maybe he's kind of like that kind of humor that grows on you or something. And I have to tell you, like, I was watching a video and my husband said something to me about like reminding him, he reminds him of my dad. Like their sense of humor is very similar. So I don't know, maybe that's what it is. But I do kind of like the podcast now. I've been enjoying watching them. I've just been sitting there watching, you know, because I'm a drama channel, right? But anyway, so that's the whole thing with that. She feels like Ryland is leeching off of Shane. Which a lot of people are like saying that, you know, like, what do you think Ryland's move is going to be in all of this? And then maybe this is his self-protection over this whole situation. I really just cannot find any way that Shane can come out of this redeemable at this point. I just really can't. So then the next thing that she said was that Shane texted her that he has always supported her privately as a friend because the internet gives him anxiety, and she said that that was absolute BS. She said she didn't believe that. She talked about the situation with Gabby Hanna. Then she talked about people, okay, this was interesting how she said it. She said that people that Shane has falling outs with, it's always them, and that he references them being like evil, but it's always their fault, okay? This word evil gets thrown around so much by all of this group. Like, I was looking in my text messages with Jeffree Star, and there were quite a few evil remarks in there as well, you know? And it's just interesting that that's like a word that gets thrown around like that a lot. That's like kind of a heavy word for me, you know? Like, I wouldn't be like calling somebody evil, like just like, oh, they're, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, maybe like they're not the nicest person in the world, or they're kind of shady, but like evil is like real far, right? So anyway, she goes in there and she says, she goes, Drew, Andrew, Garrett, and I'm like, has Shane had a falling out with all three of them and hasn't really said any, and like really hasn't said anything? Now, if you go watch the Sweet Boys podcast from yesterday, the beginning of that is very, very interesting, but video 3 coming today is where we're going to talk about that. So anyway, they reference friendships in there, and it was very telling. I love their podcast. Their podcast is so funny to me, but they do all these voices and stuff, and sometimes I can't keep up with it anyway. But she said that it's always something that they did. So is Shane not friends with, I mean, Drew's not really in the picture anymore, but like Drew, Garrett, and Ryland, or Drew, Garrett, and Andrew anymore, and he won't say anything? I will tell you this, okay? I will find it really, really hard to believe if Garrett and Andrew come out publicly and speak publicly against Shane Dawson. I think that people respect them so much that if they did, I think people would really listen. But I really get the impression that they're just wanting to do their own thing and kind of stay out of all of that. So I will be really, really surprised if they come out and say something, but we'll see. She says she was always the loud one. And that she kind of says, like, I was always the hair by Jay in these situations. And she's like, Shane didn't want to get his hands dirty. And she's like, now the same with Ryland. Like, Ryland is, he's the one coming in and defending Shane in this situation because Shane won't come forward and do it himself because he doesn't want to get his hands dirty. Of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. And then at the very end, she says there's some evil, dark SHI shit happening there. I rebuke it. I rebuke it! She's not a Christian! Did you guys ever watch Wife Swap back in the day? I live. Anyway, so that is everything. That Ouija boards! She did rebuke it. Remember, she ripped up that check only to come back later and take the check. Not Trisha, but the woman on Wife Swap, who they've had a lot of tragedy happen in their lives. But anyway, that's beside the point. So let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. In my next video, I will be talking about personal things that I know about the situation. And then in my third video, we'll be talking about what everybody else is saying about this. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.